Hello and welcome to the QDCMS tutorial for the newsletter module. For the purposes of this tutorial, I've selected the jbfsale.com website, and to access the newsletter module, we'll need to click on Marketing and then on Newsletter. And the first thing that we're going to talk about with the newsletter module tutorial here is how to add a newsletter. So to add a newsletter, we'll click the Add Newsletter link, and let's talk about all of these different fields and how we create a new newsletter and send it out. So there are two columns to this layout, the left column here and the right column. The left column is for all of the information about the newsletter and the newsletter itself, and the right column is for all of the information regarding the sending of the newsletter. Before we talk about either one of these columns, let's talk for just a second about who the email newsletter is sent from. It doesn't show up in any of these fields because it's set behind the scenes as whomever you're logged in as. Now you can change the send from name here in this field. So if you want it to be the name of your company or something other than the name that you're logged in with, which shows up here in the top right hand corner of QDCMS, then you can change the from name here, but the actual email address that it sends from is your username that you use to log in to QDCMS. So let's cover these other things, and you can custom set a reply to email address here in this field. So what that allows you to do is when this newsletter goes out and somebody replies to that newsletter, it will reply to this email address. So you can put any email address that you want to in that field. We've already talked about the send from name. Now the next field is the newsletter name. This is just to help you identify this newsletter later. And the field underneath that is the subject. This is the subject of the email that goes to the people that you're sending the newsletter to. Now the newsletter name and the subject can be different things. Now underneath the subject is the HTML newsletter. Here we have our WYSIWYG that we can edit this content area just like we could with a web page or a blog entry. We have all the same toolbars and features. One of the other things that we have here with the HTML newsletters is templates. So if you have custom HTML newsletter templates created for your website, you can click this button and select those here. To learn more about newsletter templates, there is a special tutorial that just covers the newsletter templates. The next field that you'll notice underneath the HTML newsletter is the text newsletter. This is just a text box that allows you to copy and paste just the plain text of your newsletter. And it is required. HTML newsletter and text newsletter are both required. That's because not everybody has the capabilities of viewing an HTML newsletter. The system will send both an HTML newsletter and a text newsletter at the same time in the same newsletter, and the email client, whatever email client they use on their computer, will read whichever one that they have set up to read. So this allows you to send both at the same time. Now let's move to the right column and talk about it for a minute. Here we have at the top send now and test send checkboxes. Let's first talk about the test send, which just sends a copy of the newsletter to you immediately. So if I click this and I hit submit, it will send a copy of that newsletter to me, comes to my inbox, allows me to view it, check it, kind of proofread it and make sure that it looks right. I can forward that newsletter to other people and have them review it that may not have access to QDCMS, but I want them to review the text before I actually send out to a group of people. The send now will allow the newsletter to be sent immediately when you hit submit, and the schedule to send on underneath it allows you to pick a date and a time of when you want that newsletter to go out, allowing you to create a newsletter that will be sent out at a scheduled time sometime in the future. It will add it to a queue and send at that particular date and time. Underneath that are the different types of email addresses. The QDCMS address book is what this works with, and there are 4 different types of email addresses that it allows you to store for each contact in your address book. Here you can select which types of email addresses you want this particular newsletter to go to. Underneath that is the include groups with the slider, so you can just click the arrow here and it will slide out and show you all of the groups. The top group is always going to be all contacts in your address book. Now this allows you to select all the contacts within your address book rather than picking and choosing which groups that you want it to send to. Now, one of the important things to note when a newsletter is sent out is that it will deduplicate any email addresses. So if there are two people that share an email address, it's just going to go to one of them. If there are duplicates of email addresses in the address book, people that you are sending it to, maybe you're sending it to 5 groups, and some of these people are in multiple groups, well, it's not going to send the same email to them twice. It's just going to send it to them once, which is a nice feature. So underneath include groups is exclude groups, and you'll notice midway down the do not email group is selected and it's disabled, so you can't deselect it. So when people unsubscribe to your newsletter, they automatically go into the do not email group, and it always excludes anybody who's in that group. But let's say you had a client group that you wanted to send to. You wanted to send it all to all of your clients, but you wanted to exclude a particular group of clients that maybe you've already done some work for, because this is a marketing newsletter that you're sending out. So this allows you to exclude everybody within a particular group or groups. So that's it as far as this screen goes. And once again, once you hit submit, it will save the newsletter for you. And if you have it set to send to you, it will do the test send, or send it immediately, or put it in the queue to send sometime in the future. Now let's click on View Newsletters and talk for a minute about managing the newsletters. So here are all of the newsletters that we have created, and you'll notice that there is more than one page of newsletters because there's only so many that will appear on each page. So I can click the 2 and go to the next page and see additional newsletters. Now this also allows us to click a checkbox next to each newsletter and copy it. So if I got a newsletter that I created that I really like, that uses a specific template and has certain content, and I just want to modify that and send it to a different group, the copy is a great way to do that. The delete works the same way as it does within other modules. Once I have a newsletter that I don't want to keep anymore, I can click the checkbox, hit delete, and it will remove that newsletter here from my interface. Have the search feature, which allows me to search if I've got tons of newsletters and I want to find a particular newsletter that I sent long ago. I don't want to have to go through the different pages. I can type in my search criteria, hit submit, and it'll return the results right here. To edit a newsletter, I click on the name of that newsletter, and it'll take me to the screen for that particular newsletter with all of the content filled in, just like our ad newsletter. And I can edit that and resave it, but I can only edit and resave it if it has not been sent. So you'll notice that on this newsletter that I've clicked on, it does not have the submit button, so I cannot edit this newsletter since it's already been sent. The other things that we can note here is that it notes the time and day that it was created and when it was last updated. Reports that here. And we also have a report. So if a newsletter has gone out to people, we can click here to view the report, and this shows us a day-by-day graph as well as statistics of the summary of how many people it was sent to, how many email addresses it was sent to, number of people that have viewed it, so on and so forth. And I can click on the detail of any one of these, and it will provide me a report with a breakdown of the people that it was sent to and when they viewed that newsletter. And that's it for the information about the QDCMS module of newsletters. For more information about templates, view the newsletter templates tutorial. And if you want to see the newsletter in all its splendor of how it appears to the user, how they unsubscribe, how they can forward it, and the legal disclaimers, please view that tutorial. Thank you.